You are listening to The Mismatch presented by FanDuel. FanDuel has made it easier than ever to see how your bets are doing without even opening the app. Because now you can get the latest updates and follow along in real time directly from your phone's lock screen or Apple Watch. No login required. Just head to your My Bets page to turn it on. And if you don't already have it, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today to get in on the action. The Ringer is committed to responsible gambling. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available. And listen to the end of the episode for additional details. Remember, you must be 21 or over and present in select states. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
Welcome to The Mismatch. I'm Chris Vernon, and joining me as he does every week from TheRinger.com is Dave Jacoby. Jacoby!
Verno.
We're recording this at 12:12 Central Standard Time. It is 12 a.m. on Friday. I have just left Grizzlies Thunder. And oh, brother. If you want to talk about the grandest swings of emotion that you could have in an NBA game, and you know, you always goof with me because I always say, hey, man, there's a reasonable chance you go to an NBA game, you may see something you've never seen before. And I thought, certainly in the first half, I even texted you, I said, has anybody scored 40 and a quarter on them? And then the Grizzlies backed it up with 37 in the second quarter. And they are running roughshod over a 68-win Oklahoma City Thunder team. And Ja Morant gets clipped by Lu Dort, goes down on the ground. And Jacoby, it is hard for me to describe how the air came out of literally everything. And then for those that were watching the game, you saw how that unfolded and what life looked like against the Thunder without Ja Morant for the Grizzlies in the second half. A team that scored 77 in the first half scored 31 in the second half.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
There was a point during the first half when I asked myself, could the Grizzlies win by 51? Could they win by 51? And I think it's important to note that the Ja Morant injury happened on like a 2-on-0 breakout transition, which was their like second in the last 5 possessions. Because there's the one where he gave it to Kennard too. Like they were getting pick sixes left and right. They were swarming. There's thoughts in my head like maybe it was a schedule loss in game 1, and maybe this series will be even in a few days. And then all of
the things that they needed to do were things that took place. You got monster heroic efforts out of role players like Scottie Pippen Jr., right? You were knocking down threes, and most importantly, and keep this in mind as the Thunder move on to the next round, which is going to be the Clippers. The Clippers do an unbelievable job of taking care of the ball. The Thunder are at their absolute best when they are flying around, turning you over, and they are getting fast break points, okay? They're getting a transition. The Grizzlies only turned the ball over 3 times in the first half. If you can keep the turnovers low against that team, you give yourself a chance. And obviously, they had more than a chance. They were up by 26 points by the time they got to halftime. But that was key number 1. Don't let them get the points off turnovers. Don't just throw the ball to them. In the absence of Morant, it exposed they don't have another player on the team that can dribble. Not one. Nobody. And that is feeding meat to the lions when you were playing against the Thunder. To wit, they turned it over 13 times in the second half. And that's how that lead totally disintegrates, beyond the fact that they're playing late into the shot clock. They can't get a good shot. Like the Thunder, to their credit, absolutely cranked it up defensively. People are going to look, for those that didn't watch, they're going to look at a box score, and they're going to see that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 31. They're going to see that Jalen Williams had 26. The keys to that game flipped on the back of Chet Holmgren's third quarter and Alex Caruso being an absolutely dominating defender. Like, it didn't matter if Caruso was on Pippen, he was getting a steal. If he was on Jared Jackson, he was getting a steal. If he was on Desmond Bane, he was getting a steal. Or he was causing a massive problem for the entire offense to be able to break down. Like, Caruso was, a dominant defensive presence. But it was just like the team was smoked after Morant went out.
You said it will be hard for you to describe the feeling in the building after Ja went out. Because remember, there's a 26-point lead at halftime. And watching the game, every single person watching and every single person in the building and every single person in a Grizzlies uniform was looking at the lead just dwindle and dwindle and dwindle. Right. And I've never seen a home playoff crowd have like a 13-point lead and be less excited about it. So take us through it. I know it's going to be hard for you, but what did it feel like being there?
I think that there's no way. I've never been through this before, honestly, in the way it played out. The whole sentiment at halftime. If you're up 26 on the number one team in the league, everybody is thrilled. Once they saw Morant go down and Morant basically he took his jersey off. I noticed that too.
He took the shooting sleeve off before he shot the free throws.
And then he took the jersey off as he walked off the court, as if to signify, I'm done here. I'm not, that's it. Like,
in the city or in the game?
No, stop. I'm done here. Okay? Has his value ever been more apparent than, look, if there was an MVP in this game, it's pretty clear who that guy was, because he walked out and it was not an experience you ever, it would be like being up in a football game by, 3 touchdowns, but your quarterback got hurt on the last play of the first half. And so all anybody is thinking is, oh my God, is 26 a big enough lead? That's all you're thinking. You're not thinking about how you got to 26. You're not thinking about, wow, this is an amazing environment. All you're thinking about, and that nervous energy just overtook everything. And unfortunately, you saw it overtake the team. Like, they were smoked, man. Like, it was like where you're up by 21, but your quarterback's out, and you're running the ball into the line 3 times. And then you're punting it away, and then they're coming down and they're scoring. And then you run it back into the line 3 times, and you punt it, and they come back and
you're
score
looking at the
again.
clock. You're looking at the clock, and you're just like, when is this going to happen? Because the Grizzlies had the lead until like the last 5 minutes of the game, but it just didn't feel like a lead. And you could, the crowd noise coming through the television was so loud in the first half, and it was just dead silent in the second half. I'm looking at the score, being like, guys, you're up by 18 right now.
Well, to your point, at the end of the game, it's like, okay, now you got to out-execute these guys because it's going to be we run a play, you run a play. Now that it's like dead heat at the end, and you've gotten the ball stolen from you damn near every possession. And then even after the Dort free throw line stuff, it's like 111, 108, I think.
And he misses 2 free throws. Yeah.
Okay, 111, 108.
Yep.
Timeout. You got the ball.
He has no field goals and no free throws, by the way, at this point.
You agree? This is the biggest shot of the season.
Oh, no. Let's talk about the jump ball.
No. No. This is before that. It's 111, 108.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest shot of the season. You're out of a timeout, right? It's Desmond Bane, right? No. It's Jaren Jackson, right? No. It's Luke Kennard? No. They threw it out to Luke Kennard. Then he drove. And then what did he do? He threw it over. The biggest shot of the season is a John Conchar corner three. John Conchar didn't even play he was not even in the rotation most of the season. I think he is 1 for 14 on playoff threes.
There's another Conchar in Denver.
The biggest shot of the season is a John Conchar corner. That tells you everything you need to know about what life is like without
you've
Ja
got
Morant.
a Lu Dort, Zach Edey jump ball in a key spot. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, how could this possibly go wrong? And we'll get to the Pistons jump ball that went wrong later. But it's like, how could this? I'm like, well, the Memphis is going to get this. I'm mapping it out because I love you, Verno. I'm mapping out how Grizzlies can win this game. Well, Edey is obviously going to control this jump ball, and he hits Dort in the face, gets called for a foul.
So that's the weird thing, too. Like, you're doing the map out how they can win. Because when Morant took off his jersey and walked out, and then he came back out, I don't think they showed him on TV, from what I could gather. Because I had some reporters even reach out to me. They're like, "You saw him?" I was like, "Yeah," because I tweeted
I didn't see him come back out. But I was also paying attention to the game that matters.
So he came out in the tunnel in front of me on crutches.
Oh!
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
But I was also watching the game, too.
So I guess they must have scurried him back after he came out on crutches. I don't know. Because it was like, I guess people didn't see this, or I guess they didn't show it, because I even had a reporter from one of the big outlets at the game that texted me and said, you saw, because he saw my tweet, he said, you saw Morant on crutches? I said, yes, I saw Morant on crutches right in front of me. Like, what are we talking about? He came out. He's on crutches, bro. On crutches. Like, this guy's done. So the feeling was, like, even when he took off his jersey and he went, and then that happens at the, and I see him on crutches, like, you're sitting there mapping out a way. Like, the second he went down, everybody knew.
We all knew.
Okay. There'd be at least it'd be cool to win one. But even then, this is a lost cause. We can't win without this guy.
Before he went down, I'm literally sitting there saying, maybe this series isn't what we thought. Maybe they can win 2 at home and even it up at 2-2, and maybe we can go somewhere with this. Because if you just watched the first half of that game and you said one of these teams has the best defense in the NBA, you would think it was the Grizzlies. You would. Right. You would think it was the Grizzlies.
Look, the arena was on fire. The team was fighting the whole thing. No, and it just, it was. I cannot describe it. I just walked out after doing the postgame show like maybe 20 minutes ago. That walk to that postgame show, and then like we do the postgame show like in front of people, right? Mm-hmm. Like they're like in the team store. I mean, it was the most depressing thing ever, honestly. Like the most depressing thing ever. Because it's like, I think there's reality that you're not going to have. You got to play one more game at 2:30 on a Saturday afternoon to try to keep your seat. Yeah, I know, right? Like, I mean, how many Grizzlies booked flights for Saturday night already that aren't to Oklahoma City, but rather to wherever they are going? I mean, it's just when you see a team and the whole wind comes out of their sails as well. Because it happened in the crowd, it happened with the team, and injuries are awful. As you were watching it on TV, do you think Grizzlies fans should blame Dort, or is he just a bystander to something terrible that happened?
My first reaction when watching it was, how come no one punched Lu Dort in the face? That was the first thing that went through my mind. I was like, I don't care, run off the bench. Like, someone needs to punch that man in the face. And then the replay official came back, and he reviewed it and was like, Lu Dort slipped. And then you see the replay after that, and he clearly didn't have control of his feet. So it was just a freak accident.
It's a lot like the Amen Thompson thing, right? Where a fan base is going to blame Amen Thompson, but Amen Thompson is really not.
If Lu Dort had his feet underneath him, I don't know what his plan was besides getting dunked on dramatically, but he did not have his feet underneath him. Therefore, you cannot blame him for this. He did not have 10 toes down on the court, using his leg muscles to control where he was. He was just kind of like slipping and floating, and it just happened to happen that way. It was just a freak accident.
This undercut thing is brutal too, because I mean we've seen it now twice.
And it's twice. We saw it all season. Steph went down, Chet went down. Yeah.
No. But I'm saying in the playoffs, the last 2 nights.
Oh,
where we're just like where it totally changes a game.
A series,
right? Jimmy Butler, right. And if Jimmy Butler is unavailable, they're in a world of shit. Right? They were in a world of shit last night without him. I mean, hell, Steve Kerr had to dust off Kuminga.
He was
two pathetic results.
Kuminga was like subbing in in the game tonight. It was just like, what? You want me to play in the basketball game?
That's when you know an injury. Hey, when you know an injury is devastating when Kerr is willing to put Kuminga in a game.
yeah. But I will say that I'm sure every other show is going to do the like, what does Memphis do from here? And I'm not willing to do that right now. But you could feel through the television the loss at the start of the third quarter. And what was it? They went on a quick run at the start of the third quarter. Chet was hitting everything. Chet went on like a personal run.
They hit 7 threes in the quarter.
But it was also like in the first 5 minutes of the second half, you knew that it was over. And,
I will say this.
Like it.
And I told you this as it was going on. So I get to come by this honest. I said, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about and the Clippers, who I have rode with, told you it's going to be a different world. Everybody, I got it. They beat the Grizzlies by 70, right? On the road when they were there. But if you watch this first half and you saw like young teams have a different reaction to being on the road. And they also have a different reaction to seeing defenses and seeing a level of intensity sometimes that they have not seen before. And I do think that is what is going to serve the Clippers very well against Oklahoma City. And again, look, I'll either be right or I'll be wrong, but that's exactly the kind of team that I've been talking about when it's like, you got to take your scars, you got to play against grown men, you've got to go against teams that have been there before. Because I've covered now 14 different times Memphis has been in the playoffs since they have moved to this city. And I've covered every one of those series. I've seen the veteran-laden teams. I've seen the young teams. And that team tonight looked like a young team on the road in the first road game of a playoff series. And, I mean, look, I don't think there's no chance Memphis loses that game if Morant doesn't take the tumble. There's no chance.
No. I mean, there's a better chance they win by 51 than lose. Right. I mean, you can just feel it. I mean, it's one thing. I think that Memphis plays well without Morant. That's been sort of a narrative for the last few years. It's one thing to play well without Morant, but it's another thing to be up by a ton, hitting on all cylinders, and then just lose them in a second. Like, that's different. That's completely different. When the energy is so
especially when
high.
you only have one player that can dribble.
It is like winning the lottery and crashing your car on the way home. Like that, it just felt like that. It was just like the high highs to the low lows was just awful. But I want to pivot to this because you did text me during the game, and we know what's going to happen for the rest of this series, but you are claiming that the Thunder are vulnerable. You're claiming the Thunder are young.
I have all season.
This is not their year. And you've been saying that. So just say it into the microphone. I know it's late for you, buddy. I know you're in an emotional space right now. Say they will lose to the Clippers. If the Clippers come through, which it looks like they will, say they will lose to the Clippers.
They will lose to the Clippers. I believe that.
Why so?
The same thing I've told you all year. They're the youngest team in the NBA. I'm not saying they're not great. They are a great team. They are a great team. I just think that what we have learned over the course of the 75-plus year history of the NBA is that veteran teams win. I don't know how many times I have to say that.
Well, it's
history is on my side on this. Now again, things can happen, and look, if Kawhi Leonard goes down in the next game, something happened tonight that altered it. Something happened in the Golden State series that altered it. I mean, we're all these series. They're one play away from history being changed.
I made a mistake before the Rockets-Warriors game. I said to myself, these playoffs have been pretty healthy so far. I said that to myself. I was like, you know what? Haven't been any big injuries. Like, the playoffs have been pretty healthy.
Well, you had just watched the game without Tatum. Come on.
Well, I mean, I'm not concerned about that.
I got it. But, I mean, we had just watched the game.
Yes.
Where, I mean, look, and it's a different world. Like, again, nobody's picking the Celtics if Tatum goes out, right? Like, that's just the way this goes.
Did you see the clip of Joe Maz holding the trainer back and saying "Get up" to Tatum? Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh, Andy loved the Porzingis blood.
He's a psycho. I'm surprised he didn't lick the blood off of Porzingis' forehead.
He probably wanted to.
He didn't do that. I'm sure he did. I'm surprised he didn't snort it.
All right, you tell me. Look, I didn't get to see the Clippers tonight. You tell me why I'm wrong. You tell me why that Clippers team can't handle anybody.
The first note, like I do like my notes where I do like all the possessions and everything, and then I do like my for the show notes, which is like the first note says this was an ass kicking.
Looks to me like
ass kicking. But Denver came out hot. Like Aaron Gordon was on fire to start the game. They're on the road, and you're thinking all this. It was very tone setty for the Nuggets, like off the jump. Like the first sort of like 7 minutes of the game, the Nuggets were rolling. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't Kawhi. It was James Harden in the first half. Like he was just hitting threes. He was getting past his man to the left side, hitting the lefty layup. He's getting and ones. The game to me was the game. Game 2 was the Kawhi Leonard game. This is Norm Powell, Zubac, Harden, Kawhi. They all had about, I think it was like 20, 19, and 21, right? They all had 20 points averaged. And then you have Chris Dunn just wreaking havoc on defense. And then you have Batum and Derek Jones coming in, each getting into double figures. And it was really like an ideal Clippers performance. Because I feel like game 2 was Kawhi Leonard is the best player on the planet. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm not saying that now, obviously, Jokic is. But this was like the Clippers' blueprint moving forward. Because I think it is now time to talk about moving forward because
we did a show a couple weeks ago, and I told you, hey, if you want to know what to look for, if we want to say that these last segments of the year gives us a peek into who is playing at the highest level going into what we're about to go into. And I told you, well, I looked up the last 15 games, and I said, and what you found, and this was not what I wasn't even looking them up. And I found that the second best defensive rating in the entire NBA for those 15 games was the Clippers. And the best offense in the NBA was the Clippers. And the best net rating in the NBA was the Clippers at plus 17 per 100 possessions. Like, this is not something that just took place. For the last 6 weeks, this team has showed us over and over again they have been playing at the highest level.
I think,
honestly, they should be up 3-0 on the Nuggets.
You could say something similar about the Pacers, but I don't believe in the Pacers the way I believe in the Clippers. You know what I mean? The Pacers were hot to finish the season too, but I don't believe in them in the same way.
But they don't have numbers like that. They don't have numbers like that.
I mean, no one has numbers like that. But the Clippers are, I think that when you look at the body of work over the 3 games, you start to think that Westbrook just made some plays at the end of game 1.
They should be up.
You just start to think that like Westbrook made some plays at the end of game 1. And the Clippers, and you know I love Jeff Van Gundy, and I've said this since like week 1 of the season, that he is impactful, and now you see the mainstream media starting to pick up on that as well. They have decided to leave Russell Westbrook alone, and if he makes one, it's good for the Clippers. If he misses, it's good for the Clippers. Like it's just a problem. And and I think it's also worth saying that Michael Porter Jr. was just not himself. He's hurt. And then Aaron Gordon started really hot, but if you look at it, I almost feel the same way I did like week 3 of the season where I'm like, Jokic needs more. He just needs more. This is not enough around him. You're wasting a Jokic season. And yes, I'm overreacting to a 2-1 lead in a series, but I don't think I am. This series is over. This series is over.
Of course it's over.
It's over.
All right, Jacoby, they should probably fire their GM.
Or the
wait.
coach.
Wait.
Or the
Oh,
coach.
wait. They've already done all that.
Or the coach.
They've already done all that. No, I mean, look, the Clippers should be up 3-0 in that. First game went to overtime, and obviously you had those crazy Westbrook plays. I mean, okay, so they like you're a Westbrook 3 away from being up 3-0.
And I think if you're the Clippers moving forward, I think they will move forward. I think they will face the Thunder. I think tonight was big for Norman Powell because he played great all season long. In the last couple games, he hasn't really performed in Denver.
Well, he hit the biggest shot of game 2. He hit the biggest shot.
Yeah, he was like 1 for 7 before that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he carried that momentum into this game, and I think it's an important game for him to sort of reestablish himself because now they truly have 4 offensive weapons to start the game, and they've got a defensive stopper in Chris Dunn who can hit a 3 once in a while.
Well, and that's why it's a great test because as series go on and the adjustments are made against these guys, then you're starting to see and this was a big like SGA had 31, I think tonight. I think he had what is he? How many shots? 26 shots. Like SGA has not been great for Oklahoma City.
First half, they were D'ing him up. They were making it hard on him in a way I haven't seen all season.
And the thing is now, this is where it's going to put a huge spotlight on Jalen Williams, on Chet Holmgren to be stepping up because in the next round, the same thing is going to be true. And like you were saying, look, there's going to be extra attention. Once Kawhi Leonard establishes he's friggin' 95 Michael Jordan, you're better. Now that attention goes to him. Boom. Now Norm Powell gets to cook. Now James Harden gets to cook. Now Big Zoot, right? That's the mark of the great teams are, okay, here's this guy that they're going to the defense is built to make one guy's life hell. So now the other guys have to make you pay for that, right? Because this guy, and so if you go look at the SGA numbers, Memphis is actually even they got smoked in the first 2 games and he didn't have good numbers.
No,
and now you get to this third one, and so it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see as time goes on, and the next round they're going to face a team that is much better at staying connected defensively. Memphis is a bona fide bad defensive team. And
I don't know where they ended up in the rankings, but it's got to be 23rd or something.
And so their ability to, have even the first half that they had. I text you and I said, bro, look, Memphis has not beaten a good team in 2 months, and they just put 77 on them. This is crazy.
But they were playing D too. But
this is crazy.
I think you didn't see the game, so it is worth mentioning that Westbrook is hurt. Right. He went back into the locker room early in the game and did not return. And MPJ had a brace on his left shoulder. You remember that loose ball thing where he got landed on? So he took the brace off after he missed a 3. So he's not himself. Gordon is dealing, he has a calf injury that he's still working through from the end of the season. Westbrook is hurt. I don't know if he's going to play a game 4. The Nuggets are cooked. The Nuggets are absolutely cooked. And as a franchise and as a fan base, we'll have plenty of offseason talks later, but they can say to themselves, we weren't healthy. Westbrook got hurt. Gordon was hurt. Murray was hurt and came back just at the end of the season. There's ways you can explain away this happening to make you feel like you don't need to make wholesale changes. But what is important?
No. This is what always happens, Jacoby. The new guy and the new GM and the new coach are going to take over. And there are going to be
hands off, laissez-faire approach. Just say let's run it back.
Absolutely not.
Same as
no. And because a new GM always wants credit. These guys all have crazy egos. They want to build their own roster, not the roster they inherited. They want their own roster so that they can be the ones that built it. You know what I mean? It's the way it always goes. It's the way it always goes.
I don't know how it's going to play out for them, but I know I'm very confident they're going to lose to the Clippers, and I'm confident that the Clippers are going to play the Thunder. I'm not as confident as you are that the Clippers will beat the Thunder, but that will be a great series.
Oh, it'll be a great series. It'll be a great series. And look, and I'm not telling you that it's impossible. The Thunder, they're the best team in the league this year. It's not like they can't win. I'm just saying throughout time, that is exactly the kind of team that I have been talking about. So we will see. The Clippers are exactly the kind of team that I've been talking about throughout the year. And so if they are able to beat that team, I mean, There's nothing I can say. There's nothing I could say. And honestly, then it does not matter if you're young, if you're that great.
I could see either team winning that series.
Okay.
FanDuel is letting you get in on the NBA playoff action right from the first tip. Because right now, all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend when you bet the NBA playoffs. That's right. Just use your token on 3+ leg same-game parlay or same-game parlay plus on any NBA playoff game, and you'll get bonus bets back if you don't win. I've got my eye on tonight's games, that being Friday, April 25th. I think the Bucks are going to bounce back in this series. And I think the game is going to go over. And I think Giannis is going to go over. So guess what? You put those three in a same-game parlay, that's a no-sweat bet. And I'm very confident about the Lakers against the Timberwolves, even on the road. Right now, the Timberwolves are favorites. I would leverage that, and I'd go Luka over. And I think LeBron, he's been impactful, but he hasn't scored a lot this series. I would also put him in a parlay as well. And I love betting on FanDuel because they have great promotions every day. They have a safe and secure app, and they have instant payments. There's no better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/mismatch and get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend of the NBA playoffs. Again, that is FanDuel.com/mismatch. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Remember, you must be 21 and over and present in select states, or 18 and over and present in D.C. Opt-in is required. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. And I think that we need to talk about the Pistons and the Knicks.
Let me hear it. We knew Towns was going to get used.
You know
we
what?
knew he was going to get used in this one. We just spent the last 2 days talking about how he didn't take a shot in the fourth quarter.
It's one of these things where it's like Jalen Green sucks in game one and everybody talks about it for 2 days. And guess what? Jalen Green is on fire in game two.
Right.
Oh, Michael Porter Jr. gets dragged through the mud for 2 days. And guess what? Michael Porter Jr. in game two. He's amazing. 15 and 15, right? And we knew that it was going to be like this for Towns. And they went to him early. They went to him off. He had 11 points in the first quarter. He was hitting threes. I think he had 5 3-point attempts in the series. And then in the first quarter, he had like 4.
Well, this is what frustrated everybody because there's not a natural defender for him on that team.
There's not, but Tobias Harris? Like, you're going to have Tobias Harris matched up with Cat, and he's going to run to the corner and stand there with his hands on his hips? Like, It was just stupid. I was in the building watching it, talking to my friend, being like, Tobias Harris is matched up with him. Why are we not putting him in the action, at least getting him to touch the ball? But this was a really good Knicks performance. This made me feel confident about the rest of the series because Bridges was hitting shots. Towns was good. And I think that everyone, like, it's funny when everyone's going to walk away from this one talking about how Brunson closed the game down the stretch. But he kind of sucked for the first 3 quarters. Like, he was 3 for 11 at one point.
Well, he poked Tim Hardaway in the eye.
Anyone who's ever played basketball knows that if you can't get the ball, you just try to block the vision. That's what he was trying to do. So he poked him in the eye. And it wasn't even like a thing. They called it a flagrant or whatever, but that to me was not much. But I think that this was a big game for the Knicks because they needed to show their offensive diversity in a way that they did not in game 2. And they had it. And it really is about Towns. It's just about Towns because he can get past Tobias Harris. And then once he gets a shoulder past his defender on the perimeter, he has a lot of options. He can finish over bigs. He can pass. It just unlocked everything. And I feel like Tibbs heard from the world and made adjustments.
Okay, so that was the debate on the is it Towns' fault for not being so aggressive at demanding the ball? Is it Tibbs' fault for them not getting him the ball? Whatever. The other one that got hell's wrath from the fan base is Bridges. So how are we on Bridges? Because there was a lot of 5 first-round draft picks, and he's missing wide-open threes, and yada, yada, yada. Where are we on Bridges? Did he start to mend some fences?
I will say that I didn't blame Bridges. He missed 2 open threes at the end of game 2 that were huge, right? But my thing is, if you don't give him the ball and he's not touching the ball, and then all of a sudden he has an open 3 at the end of the game, and then you blame him for missing it, those 2 things are correlated. Being so Brunson heavy in your offense and then saying, oh, here's a shot, make it, is not the way to get him going. And I felt like today in this game, they made an effort to make sure that OG touched it, Bridges touched it, Towns touched it. Because it's like I said before, like the Knicks did a great job of taking away Cade as well. And the Pistons did a great job of taking away Brunson. But when you start going through the roster, the Knicks have a lot of options beyond Brunson, and the Pistons just don't. Durn played great tonight, but the Pistons just don't. And I think that this game went the way that it should have. And one thing that was huge is this crowd, Verno, this Detroit crowd to start the game was so hype. Just absolutely on fire.
You're dying for that game.
It's going crazy. Right. And if the Pistons just took a lead like they did in game 1 and game 2, if they kept the crowd in it, because I got my eye on my guy Jalen Rose, because he's sitting right next to the Knicks bench, and he's he's on camera during the entire game. He's standing up. The whole first half, he's standing, he's pointing, he's doing stuff. He's blocking Ben Stiller's view of the game. Second half, not so much standing. You know what I mean? Like, just like the energy it's kind of like, if you don't make a run, if you don't hit a couple threes, you don't make them call timeout, you don't let the crowd get into it, it kills the confidence of the building, it kills the confidence of the other team. And I thought that was one of the things that the Knicks did so well. There were a couple runs, but taking the crowd out of the game, I think, was really big for them. And down the stretch, Brunson was just a closer. Like, he's just their closer. It's like Mariano Rivera. It's just like he won the clutch whatever year of the clutch guy, Mr. Clutch Sports, whatever he won. He won that thing today, and he proved it at the end of the game. But did you see like the very, very end of the game?
What the heck happened with the backcourt?
It was insane. It was nuts. There's a jump ball, and I think it's Durn and Brunson, I want to say.
I saw the long Zach Zarba like explanation on this
first of all,
and whatever.
I happen to have bumped into Zach Zarba a couple times in my personal life. Great hang, by the way. Great hang. Love me some Zach Zarba.
I think the two refs that like seem like they would be super cool, and I have met people that have the same experience as you, are Zarba and Bill Kennedy. Like, yes. Bill Kennedy's just got this great attitude about him, right? There's a lot of the guys that just seem like nobody wants to hang out with John Goebel ever.
Oh, but I was like, no. Me and Zarba have a mutual friend, and he hosted a thing, and I was like, "You're Zach Zarba?" He's like, "Yeah," and he was just like totally not what he presents as a referee. You know what I mean?
I always think he comes off relatively cool.
Shit. Yeah, he was cool. But anyway, end of the game. There's a jump ball. It's Jalen Duren and Brunson. The announcers are pointing out where Jalen Duren's going to put the ball, and he just smacks it out of bounds. And then there's this over and back where Jalen Brunson's right foot is in the front court, and he kind of like doesn't catch the ball, but like kind of catches it but doesn't catch it, and then puts his left foot in the backcourt and then possesses it. But they review it, and the explanation made no sense to me. And again, I'm not a ref. I don't study the rules, but they were like, his momentum took him into the backcourt. I'm like, yeah, that's over and back. Like, again, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm like, yeah, his momentum took him into the backcourt. That's exactly what happened. Thank you for explaining that. That's being in the front court, and your momentum takes you to the backcourt. Okay.
So here's the deal. It says, late in the game, this was the question because they have to do the pool report.
Oh, they did
says
it?
Late in the game, it appears that Jalen Brunson committed a backcourt violation.
He did.
Looking for clarification on that rule. Zach Zarba. Rule 4, Section 6G. The front court, backcourt status is not obtained until a player with the ball has established a positive position in either half in this instance. During the throw in the last 2 minutes of the fourth period and the last 2 minutes in any overtime period. So, obviously, that is where we were at that point. Brunson and the trajectory of the pass were headed towards the backcourt. Brunson's momentum was taking him there when he touches the ball. Due to that momentum, he's not considered in a positive position at that time. That's why the play is legal.
Can I ask a follow-up question, please, Mr. Vernon?
Well,
what
Mr.
is a
Zarba.
positive possession? What is a positive position? What is that? Explain to me what the words positive and position have to do with each other and what that means.
I mean, it really looks like, it looks like he's got possession on the,
It looked like an over and back. Again, like this doesn't call the game because it's a 3-point game. So then the Pistons have to hit a 3 and then, who knows what's going to happen from there. But when I was watching the game as a Knicks fan, I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and I also, like, just looking at the play, because as we're talking, I press play on the video, whatever. I guess my issue with the explanation would be, bro, he could have stopped. His momentum is not so severe that he has to go into the backcourt.
And
like,
if
it
you
looks
notice,
to me like you could have stopped if you wanted to. So therefore, to me, that's a backcourt because, like, you're willingly doing this. Like, you are willingly, like, it's not just, oh, I can't stop myself.
So that was fine, right? And then there's this. They're up by 1 because I think it was Beasley hits a crazy 3. By the way, Tim Hardaway was like 6 for 6 to start the game. It was like everything he wasn't in game 2. I think he was like honestly like 6 for 6 from 3 to start the game. It was nuts. Wow. He cooled off in the second half. So then Brunson's at the line and they're up by 1 with 0.5 seconds left. In my head, I'm like, make the first one, miss the second one. Is someone going to jump in the air? Like only Jokic with his water polo skills could jump in the air, grab the ball, and make a 90-foot 3-point shot to win the game. Like it's just like impossible, right? So then the announcers start talking about it. Like, well, do you make them both or do you miss the second one? I'm thinking, miss the second one. He makes the first one. He's going to miss the second one, right, Verno? He misses the second one. The clock guy starts the clock when it hits the rim.
Oh, no.
So then the buzzer goes off before a Piston has touched it. So now the buzzer went off inadvertently.
Okay.
It's a 2-point game with 0.5 seconds left. How do you think a fair way to end this game would be?
I think the best way is to try to, and again, I hate these replays, but you've got to go back and you've got to time it. Right?
You can't. No, the buzzer's off before anyone touches it. The ball's in the air and the buzzer goes off, and the Pistons are already like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, but you've got to. But you've got to go back and you've got to say, "What is that? Like 0.3?"
So here's what I'm thinking.
It should theoretically be 0.3 or something, right?
No,
like by the time,
no. See, I'm thinking retake the shot again. Like, I don't have the rule book. I'm thinking like retake the shot. Like the
how
clock
long
guy
does
messed
it?
up.
I don't know what the distance from it. The ball comes off the rim and then immediately it's touched.
The buzzer buzzes like while the ball's mid-air, and the Pistons themselves are like, "What was that?" It was a total mistake. Okay. But what ends up happening is they give the Pistons the ball. So I'm thinking to myself, how did we get here? The Pistons have a chance to win the game because the clock guy messed up?
Oh, that's a raise. He gets a raise.
But the announcers were smart to be like, they're independent clock guys. It's not like the guy doesn't like live in Flint and like drive into the game every day 41 times a year. But the clock guy messes up. And it gives the Pistons, like, again, you cannot get a rebound and make a full court heave in 0.5 seconds. Right. Yeah. So then I'm just like, this is insane. I was like, this is so set up for the Pistons to win the game. And then inbounding the ball is Jalen Duren. And I'm thinking to myself, they must know something about Jalen Duren that I don't know. Did he play quarterback in high school? Is he a great passer? I literally, before anything happened, I was like, why is this the guy that you choose to inbound the ball? Because he sometimes catches it, most of the time dunks it. He's not exactly like a touch athlete. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then he just throws the ball out of bounds. It was over. But it was insane. The whole thing, like the Knicks had the thing in the bag. I swear they were up by like 8 with like 50 seconds left, and it just all fell apart in the weirdest way. And then they walk off with a win. It was weird. The whole thing was weird.
Okay, so here is when we have talked about these series in the past, I always view it through the prism of what do you have to do to get it done? And I think the reason that you feel so confident now after that one and that one becomes so crucial is because you look at it and you go, do I think the Pistons could beat the Knicks 3 out of 4 times?
No chance.
Right.
It does feel
and
like
so
it
that's
felt,
but I mean that's the answer, right? When we just did this, we did this in our last episode after the Clippers won game 2. And I said the reason that's so significant is because if you lose that game, then now you're telling me you got to beat Jokic 4 out of 5 times.
Which you can do with MPJ looking the way he does and Westbrook looking the way he does.
Maybe you could, but it's a whole lot easier to win 3 out of 5 times. But now when you're in this series that the Knicks are in, you're sitting there going, okay, if the tables were turned, you feel better about the better team being able to pull off something like that. If you said, okay, over the course of the season, could the Knicks beat the Pistons 3 out of 4 times? The answer in your mind would be absolutely they could do that, right? But now with the Pistons being on the wrong side of that and the first time in the playoffs or whatever else, to me, in order to win the series, and again, this could end up being wrong, in order to win the series, the Pistons had to win game 3.
Absolutely.
Because now you've got to win 3 out of 4 against a team that, I mean,
if you're looking at the first 2 games, the Pistons had the lead for the majority of both of those games. The Pistons were honestly the better team for game 1 and game 2, but game 3 felt pretty dominant from the Knicks.
Even though the score was
if you look at the
tight.
score, you're it's the same thing. I looked at NBA.com. It's like Thunder epic comeback. I'm like, that was not an epic comeback. That was star player for the Grizzlies gets hurt. The entire building gets sad, and the Thunder take advantage. That's what that was.
Well, and I think it's an interesting when I bring up the Pistons now have to beat them 3 out of 4 in order to win that series. I think it's interesting that we think about that with Wolves-Lakers.
Yeah.
Because now we're going to get a game 3 of that, and that's going to tell us a lot. But I don't think either of those 2 teams that if I pose that same question, that no matter what the outcome of game 3 is,
both teams are still in it.
We still don't feel
both teams are still in it.
Yeah, we still don't
team
feel
can win
like
by 40.
And either team in a 4-game set could go 3-1 against the other team.
Absolutely.
Right? Like that could happen in that one because of how they are matched up and kind of where they are. I mean, that series, it is.
What did you make of game 2? What did you make of game 2?
Look, psychologically, when you are the home team and you've lost game 1, there is a desperation with a game 2 that frankly cannot be. The other team, there's just no way you could try to say, I mean, I've been to the press conference, like I told you, I've covered so many of these series. I've been to the press conference a million times where the guy comes in and he says, look, we came here, we got done. We got the split.
We're headed back to Minnesota.
Yep. We stole home court.
Yeah.
Now they've got to win on our terms.
Which is such bullshit, right? Because you're still going to play game 7 on the road.
Right.
Like, come on.
Right. But we've got but if we take care of business, we don't even have to come back here for a game 7, right? We have the ability to win this in 6 now, right? We get to play on our terms now. We stole home court advantage, blah, 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 blah. So I think it was, par for the course on when you've got 2, I think, very good. These teams are a good matchup against each other, that you're going to have adjustments that go on every game. You are going to give different guys that step up every game. You're going to have, okay, so Anthony Edwards was a big-time playmaker and had 9 assists in game 1. And then He turned around, he had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't get an assist in game 2. And Naz Reid was big. Well, Naz Reid was in foul trouble. And Jade McDaniels had 25, and Jade McDaniels ain't got the 25 no more.
Do you know who's been good for the Wolves, though?
But then
Julius Randle.
Right. Luka Doncic has 1 assist or whatever it was in game 1, and all of a sudden now you get to game 2. So, look, that's the ebb and flow of a series, and I got to be honest with you, I'll be disappointed if we don't get a game 7 in that series. I think it's just going to go back and forth and back and forth. I really do.
I think the Lakers finish it before that.
Wow. No way.
I do.
Before? You think they win in 6 in Minnesota?
Yes.
Or 5?
I don't know.
No
man.
way. No way.
If you look at game 1 and game 2, I feel like game 1, the Wolves couldn't miss. Like, they just couldn't miss.
I got it. But don't overreact to game 2 because, look,
Game 2 was gross. Game 2 was not fun to watch.
I got it. But the Wolves have they're not. Why are they desperate to win game 2? You know what I mean? Like, that's the way this stuff goes. So, I mean, we always overreact to the last thing we saw. Look, everybody right now is going, like, does it look like the Rockets have a much better chance against the Warriors than they did the last time we talked? Of course it does.
Yeah. Well, it's because Jimmy Butler's down. Well, shouldn't we have an MRI result by now? It's like the middle of the night.
Oh, they got it
on Thursday.
How come
we don't have it?
I think I saw. Well, no, I saw Slater. Right? It wasn't an Anthony Slater? I think that was him that put something out earlier today where it was like that he was going to confirm Jimmy Butler MRI revealed no structural damage, deep glute bruise that will be managed on a constant basis in the lead up to Saturday's game 3. Source described his status as true questionable depending on response to treatment. ESPN was the first to report. So there you go. Glute bruise.
Butt hurt.
Yeah, butt hurt. Literally butt hurt. He's actually butt hurt.
Butt hurt.
Man, it looked like it hurt like shit. Oh my God. I mean, he was high. Jimmy Butler was skying.
He bounced off the ground.
You blame Draymond.
Bounced.
You think you blame Draymond for that?
I blame Draymond for everything. It's really just like fluky pinball stuff down there.
Yeah, right.
But,
for sure.
And the Dort one was fluky too. But I don't want to do hypotheticals, but like I don't know what Dort's plan was besides getting dunked on by Ja Morant. But if it didn't go down the way it did,
and Steve Kerr had said, for what it's worth, Steve Kerr had said that Jimmy said he's fine. We'll see.
I feel like Jimmy could like lose an arm and be like, I'm fine. I've got 2. I've got.
I mean, look, extra rest came. Is massive
Wednesday
in
next
this situation.
Like Sunday?
No, it's not until Saturday. So I'm saying they were off. They didn't. They had that
Wednesday,
day.
Thursday, Friday. Yeah,
they had that day between.
That series, I thought the Rockets would win the series, and I still feel that way. I think the Rockets are going to win. I thought that. So I want to talk about Jalen Green for a second.
You think they win if Butler's available?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I
mean, they had the home court advantage and it's 1-1.
Here's what Jalen Green said about game 1. Quote, "The lights were bright. The crowd was here. The court looked huge, so I couldn't really get a chance to settle in. My legs was a little shaky." And, of course, we all saw what he did in game 2.
He's great.
I mean, this is the Jalen Green experience, though.
But that's not like right. Like this is the way it's going to go.
This is Jalen Green. This is who he is, and this is why we've always said. Like,
I mean, I think it's very hard. Look, I will say they played with incredible force right off the bat. It is very hard to It's hard to take a lot out of game 2 when we saw the Warriors with that. I promise you, without Jimmy Butler, the Rockets could kill the Warriors. We agree.
Of course.
Right. We need to see it again in a game that Jimmy Butler plays in before I decide who I think can win this thing.
Oh, I think the Rockets win the series. I'm confident about that. Confident about that. If Jimmy Butler's available game 3.
I am less confident than you.
Oh, no. I think they were a little freaked out in game 1.
Yeah, it sounds like you're counting on a Jalen Green 38 again.
No.
Okay,
I
then
don't
what?
think they need it. It's just the defense, man. They've just got guys, Eason and Thompson, and I just feel like I've always been a little down on the Warriors this season, even post Jimmy Butler. I really have. I really have. I understand that there's logic and data that goes the other direction, but I don't look at this team and say title contenders, especially in the Western Conference.
Fair enough.
I don't. I really, really don't. But that's we're losing. We're running out of series to watch. We're running out of good series.
The Warriors were minus 200 to win that series.
Oh,
They're
really?
minus 200. Yeah,
so
and they've lost a game without Jimmy Butler. So
I think it's very.
This is where me and you break ways.
No. So I'll say this though: is the betting odds aren't directly correlated to who smart people think will win the series.
Yes,
it's like
they are.
Dumb bettors being like Steph Curry. No, it's dumb bettors being like Steph Curry is going to beat. Who's that guy? That Turkish guy on the Rockets? Like
Vegas is not in the business of trying to lose Buddy, Jacoby.
No, I know, but they know that the money's going to come in on the Warriors because of the brand and because of Steph. It's like the Cowboys. Like the line is just different. You know what I mean? Because it is Steph. Minus 200. That's insane.
Okay,
That's insane. But I think the Rockets win the series. But there's not a lot of competitive series out there in the first round. I don't think the Nuggets, depending on what happens with Westbrook and Michael Porter Jr., if they're not 100%, because the depth is not something the Nuggets have, they've got Jokic, not much else. If those two aren't 100%, it's going to be tough to beat the Clippers. So, I think we got the Warriors, Wolves.
Yeah.
And the Grizzlies could come back and win the last 4 games.
Stop. I do think. I think Warriors and look, this is what we expected. I think the Warriors and the Rockets are going to go down to the end. I think the Wolves and the Lakers are going to go down to the end, and the Clippers have made decently quick work of the Nuggets. It appears
the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I mean,
what's the best series?
No, can either Orlando or Miami stave off a sweep? That's the only question.
Yes, they can. I think both those teams will win a game.
Yeah, a game.
Did you see what Garland said?
Oh,
into a microphone.
Picking on Tyler Hero?
I love it.
Yeah, that's
into
tough.
A microphone. He's like, yeah, we're trying to get Hero or Robinson in the action anytime we can. Robinson's like, I play like 15 minutes a game, dude. It's like, why is my name getting involved in this?
I mean, our biggest hope, honestly, I hope the Bucks respond and turn that into a series.
Yes.
Like, we need that one to become a series because we were counting on Bucks Pacers being a fun, long series. And, it appears as if, again, I'm not throwing dirt on the Pistons yet, right? If they win another game and next thing we know, we're watching a game 6.
Sure. Totally
reasonable.
I think one thing that's really bothers me about this particular series is it's missing beef stew in so many different ways. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if you saw it, there's a little dust up between, like, Mitchell Robinson was just sitting there with his hands on his knees and B-Ball Paul bonked into him and they kind of got into it, and then Karl-Anthony Towns acted like a tough guy for 5 seconds and pushed B-Ball Paul and got a tech. But there was some campaign Schroeder stuff. Schroeder, by the way, is on one right now.
Oh, yeah, dude. This is Germany Schroeder.
Dennis the Menace is here. Yeah. He is Germany Schroeder. The Pistons aren't anywhere near competitive in this series without the contributions they've got from Dennis Schroeder in game 2 and game 3. It's been, for someone who moves teams a lot and has a storied history, both positively and negatively, he's finishing this season, however it works out, on a real high. He's a contributing player.
It should be an unbelievable weekend. We will obviously reconvene on Monday, and there will be a whole new set of storylines. I'm going to go cry myself to sleep. That's what I'm going to do. Thank you to our executive producer, Jesse Lopez, as always. And Jacoby, I'll talk to you on Monday.
Must be 21 and over and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and over and present in D.C. Got a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327 877-8-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.